Hi everyone.
Yeah.
Hi. Let me just put my volume up. Hi, Karen.
Hello. This is kind of a bit of nostalgia.
It is, I think, very fitting for what we're discussing today as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so to everybody who has already joined and to those who are still joining, I'm Lauren. I'm the editor of OOD24, and today we are chatting to chef, cookbook author, Eat Out Woolworths Awards judge, and the person, Karen, I don't know if you know this, who made me realize vegetables can be delicious. That's Karen Dudley, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, Karen.
I know.
And today we're going to be talking about Karen's new cookbook, which I have right here. Give everybody a look at
And
that.
I have right here. I have right there. See, hiding my machines at the
Ah,
back
there I
there.
see it. Yes. And Karen's going to be telling us all about the inspiration behind this and just everything else that she's been up to. So we'll get started. I see there are still people. Oh, I think you've maybe lost connection there, Karen. Can you hear me? Yeah. No, I think it's hers. Let's try again. Sorry, everyone. I think we've just lost Karen. So
There.
back.
Sorry,
Okay.
no. Sorry.
All good.
Just
It
quickly,
happened.
is it true? I just got a message saying that you have got a fresh baby. Is there a fresh baby around? Just fill us in a little bit. Give us a bit of background.
Not so fresh anymore. He turned
Okay.
11 months yesterday. Yeah, so
Congratulations.
we're nearing, thank you so much. So we're nearing the 1 year mark, and yeah, it's been a whirlwind, and now I'm feeling very contemplative, I think, as we near the 1 year. And he's getting,
My
yeah, it's just getting
my
so big.
19-year-old, who is my social media guru, without whom I can do nothing, but don't tell him that, is here. And when I remember having like a party for his first birthday,
Oh, wow.
and just being in tears, going, "We made it through the first year."
That is exactly how I feel. Yeah, I can only hope that we'll get up to the 19-year mark.
Yeah. Well, anyway, congratulations,
Cool.
and
Thank you.
onwards we go.
Yes, and onwards we go. So, as we said when we started this, this feels a bit nostalgic, and it's perhaps fitting to be discussing this or to be in this setting as we discuss onwards, because onwards is very much about your journey during and post the pandemic, which is obviously a very, I think, traumatic time for all of us. And for you, you closed your restaurant, the kitchen, during that time. And started a whole new adventure. So I'd like to kick off by asking you what inspired you to write onwards or to produce onwards, and also not just in general, but what inspired you to produce it now specifically? What are we, about 3 years after
Yeah,
everything that happened?
yeah. Well, I think, closing the restaurant was such a traumatic thing and such a very, very difficult time, and emotionally difficult. And the story starts, with me rolling up my roller shutter and being in this slightly stinky, um, quiet shop with no buses and no taxis and no queues of people, and realizing that our lives would never be the same again. And it was a really hard thing to tie everything up, and kind of to realize, between these walls, this is where people met every day. This is where people hugged and kissed and sang and had love sandwiches and ate honey mustard sausages and hatched plans and sang, and it was a really hard thing to sort of come to the end of that time. And I came home to my family who kind of looked at me like, who is this person? We see her. All the energy that I was giving to, 100 or more people every day, making kind of amazing food every day, and for kind of strangers, and all of a sudden all that creativity was kind of coming home to my family, who were just kind of lapping it up. And my teenagers were just kind of, I realized they needed me more than ever right at that time, and I needed them too. And so it was a whole transition of kind of becoming a mommy again. And then also I came home, and I basically came home with these 5-liter buckets from my cold room of olives and capers and whole grain mustard and things you couldn't give to a soup kitchen. And I decided to just start making stuff, mostly so that I could clear my fridge a little bit and leave some space for the vegetables that you know about. And then and in that process of making and pulling out my machines and sort of getting deep into the flavor and the alchemy of making delicious things, it was kind of a really restorative and a healing process for me. And so it felt, the thing is, I love writing cookbooks because I get to, all the ideas and all the energy that I have kind of in making new things every day, it kind of finds meaning when I can share them, And my other books have been really well received, and people have sort of clutched them to their bosoms and made kind of every recipe and cooked out of them for Christmas and so forth. So I knew I needed to kind of share my story in response to your questions. Finally getting to it. It's like I wanted to share that process, and I suppose I wanted to celebrate my time at the kitchen and realize that we'd made a beautiful thing. Everybody that came to the kitchen, we created community. We made something lovely that might not be quite ever the same again. And so it was kind of an ode to the kitchen and the gift that was. And then also just to work through the process of moving on and doing other things and kind of stepping out into the new. So in a way, it just kind of, and my whole thing right now is like, what are our learnings from the last few years? And how do we imagine the future? How do we think of a new thing? How do we create something new that's kind of unfettered by old stinky ideas and useless things that didn't serve us anymore? And how do we move on to making things better? How do we move on to giving people options? And I suppose that's the other thing is, for me personally, there was this kind of feeling, especially during lockdown, where I kind of realized people still need me. They want to know what to do with all their beans from their vegetable box and their, and their broccoli and their cauliflower. Thank goodness, because broccoli and cauliflower is a big feature. We love those. So, yeah, it was a very natural process, and I love the whole creative thing of making a book and telling a story and giving people new ideas and kind of being useful, If I can be useful and if I can inspire people and encourage people, then that's my vibe, that's my jam, and then on top of it, it also justifies buying lots of beautiful crockery and linen and stuff like that. That also drives my family crazy, but it kind of justifies that kind of part of the creation as well.
I see a lot of comments coming up with people saying that they really miss the kitchen. And as I said, that was where I discovered how amazing vegetables could actually be. Most people who know me from my younger days will know that I very seldom touched a vegetable. And I really have to say, when I first went to the kitchen, I discovered that an entire meal could be created around delicious vegetables. And it was mind-blowing. It's still to this day, I remember that feeling of being in the kitchen and discovering that. So as much as your book is called Onwards, and as much as it is about moving forward, I do have to ask, I think on behalf of everybody who is in the room with us right now, in Onwards, you mentioned that you wouldn't open a restaurant again. And I have to ask, is it a case of never, ever, ever, or never say never?
You know, having a restaurant is such a huge thing. You're looking after a whole lot of people who work with you. You're serving a whole community of people who are coming all the time. Nowadays, you're also having to deal with load shedding and the usual things of like, you know, you have a cold room full of fresh produce. It's not like you can put stuff on a shelf and make it go away. It's like a fully engaged thing. And making money from a huge range of vegetables is a very challenging thing. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of time. And I, to be honest, still have a little bit of PTSD, you know, just from the trauma of doing that all that. Sometimes if someone asks me, will you do catering? I'm like, oh, the thought of the crates and the carrying things and the coming back and the cleaning up, it's kind of, I've done that and I want to use my brain. So I'm kind of transitioning from what's in the cold room to what's in my brain to what I can do online and how I can be useful other ways. So, you know, a restaurant like the kitchen, I probably won't do again. Possibly in a little while when I feel the inclination. Tiny restaurant, just with one long table, one long kind of counter on which I can make people toast would be a real pleasure to me. Like to be able to just make whatever I have and kind of deliver some new flavor or new texture on a piece of toast would be a real joy to me. And in fact, to that end, Lauren, I've actually got some bread in the oven. I might feel inclined to make you a piece of toast. I know it'll be torture for you to see it rather than actually be able to eat it. But kind of, you know, we want to be cruel like that. We can be bad like that.
Very cruel.
Well, someone's asking, can you pop up serving a... someone's asking about a love sandwich. Yes. I have to say, I do miss making love sandwiches. It kind of was a way to really express love and express joy, you know, and I just loved, hello, Course Gangster, hello, Strong. And yeah, it was marvelous being able to do that with people, and I do miss that. I do really being able to kind of reach into what people might be needing and going, oh, you know. Yeah. Yes.
So maybe
Beverly says toast all the way. Yes, toast. I'm thinking a little tiny shop, Laura, a tiny shop, just with lots of toasters and lots of nice butter and lots of nice things to go on the toast.
Yes. Well, if you're going to do a restaurant centered around something or a little pop-up centered around something, then I think bread. I'm all for the carbs all the way.
Yes, I know. Dangerous, but
so delicious.
Yeah.
And then
there's a whole little section in Onwards called the piece of toast, and it's kind of a whole little feature on kind of how yummy toast is as like a vehicle for delivering flavor, and it's kind of my favorite food really is toast. Here we go, the piece of toast. There's also a chapter in the book. Notice my hard sell on the Onwards, the shameless hard sell on the Onwards. Which is yes, there we go.
I love this one.
I'm not something like that today. Yes, there's also a little chapter called salads I would have made at the kitchen, and the solace of vegetables. Yeah. And my brassica affair, because I got a real thing with broccoli and cauliflower, and yeah, the book starts with recipes to help with letting go, and I kind of realized that making dressings and relishes really is the transformative thing. A few dressings and relishes out of here and you are totally sorted. You know, you can have something really simple and by the time you've had a delicious dressing, you're all good to go.
I also wanted to ask about family, which we touched on a bit earlier as well, and you were talking as well about
Yeah.
after the kitchen closed and you kind of returned home and stepped back into that role. And I wanted to ask, although now that you've made the decision to step away from the restaurant space, but there are so many other restaurateurs still out there, so many other chefs trying to find that work-life balance. And I wanted to know if you had any words of wisdom to share with those who are still trying to put in those long hours into their kitchens and then coming home to their families.
Yeah, my heart goes out to my brothers and sisters in the industry, especially those who are just like out there with few resources, just cooking their hearts out and doing their thing. And it's a very hard life in terms of hours and people and management. And then while you're still kind of running a restaurant, you're trying to look after all your people, and then you also still need to be having ideas and bringing your creative energy. It's not an easy thing. Oh, look, the gardener's cottage has joined us. Their favorite people. That's a great place to go, you guys, for delicious things and under the trees. Yeah. Hello, David Bloomer and Carrie Ann Lee. My heart goes out to restaurateurs who are out there and still putting it together. And there are people doing amazing things and very clever things. I think the people who have really kind of tuned into what their distinction is are the people that are going to really succeed. Like, you have to have something, you have to bring something that is different to everybody else's thing. You have to have something distinct and unique, and then you play to that distinction. That's my little hobby horse. It's like you find your distinction and you play to your distinction. I think it's better to have a few fabulous than a whole lot of average, a whole lot of arbitrary. You want a few fabulous. So people with small menus that are being very efficient in terms of sustainability and looking after their people well are going to invariably do better because they're going to make more delicious food. That's just it. People who neglect their own people do so at their peril. Oh gosh, the vocab is just coming to me today. It's amazing.
And then also on the subject of family, because there is a lot in your book around cooking for your children and also cooking for your husband again. Mm-hmm. So are some of their favorite recipes in you, or what are their favorite recipes out of onwards?
Yes, they have quite a few favorites. And in fact, as I cook nowadays, it's kind of, I used to get the affirmation of 100 people every day going, oh, that salad is incredible. But remind me to take the bread out in a second. Yeah. Nowadays, I have to say to my family, it's good. Hey, it's really good. Do you think this combination is worthy of Upwards? Because that's our next book.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Inside Upwards. Scoop there.
Hello, Baby. Baby's kitchen is joined. Hello, Agnes. Yes, so I now, they're my sounding board, and now I have to kind of test things out on them and see how things go. But yes, it's they love anything with a roasted potato. Let's face it, you can start anything with a roasted potato, and that's supper right there. Yeah. And then I kind of tend to layer up vegetables and add one of my dressings and relishes, and they seem to be quite happy with that. Last night we had a great schnitzel with a fantastic salad, left over, and then I took some leftover black rice from a workshop that I did at Muse Farms on Saturday, and I toasted that black rice. Oh, it was good. It got all crispy at the bottom, a bit like, Persian toasty rice. It was very good. That was a winner. I think that's going into Upwards. But yes, hello, Renika.
Potatoes are life, definitely.
Yes. Exactly. But they love it, and they love cake, and they love biscuits, and they actually love salad too. If I've been away and they've missed out on the vegetables, and Mom, we're longing for a vegetable. We're longing for a nutrient. We want the carrots. Bring on the carrots. Yeah. Bring on the broccoli.
And what is your top tip for making vegetables delicious? For those of us who are struggling with limp broccoli and overcooked cauliflower at home.
Yeah. Okay, the overcooking bad thing. You know, I sometimes look at a vegetable and I see, what does the vegetable want to tell me? What does it want to tell me? So this one, for example, is such a beautiful thing. I kind of thought I'd bring him out. He's from Muse Farm, and he is a purple daikon. Now, not everybody's going to have a purple daikon, but I'll look at the vegetable, the cauliflower, the broccoli, the purple daikon, and I go, what do you want to say to me, vegetable? What have you got? What have you got in terms of texture, flavor, color? How do you want me to cut you? Do you want me to boil you, steam you, roast you? How are you going to take on some nice flavor? So I kind of approach the vegetable not as a discarded thing, but kind of with a little bit of respect to start off with. And then I'm going to see how can I use this whole thing. So on Saturday, for example, I kind of cut them into thin wedges and fried them in my wok, and fried up the greens as well, and put it on some whipped feta with apple and dates and almonds.
Wow.
Yummy. But this, for example, is so crunchy and fantastic raw, I'm going to put it on a piece of toast. I must take the bread out. I'm going to put it on a piece of toast with some butter, and we can see what that looks like.
That sounds.
Do people have questions besides you, Lauren? What's happening?
Have a look. No, I have not. If anybody has any questions, please do pop them through, and we'll get to them as soon as Karen's back with the bread. And in the meantime, we'll just all imagine what it smells like.
Yeah.
Can't be there
I'm
with
gonna
you.
I'm gonna move us to so that you can see my vegetables.
Awesome.
Well, my toast really and my bread. Let's move these things out the way. Can we see something here? No, we're not. There's too many things in the way. There are too many things. You see, out of practice from lockdown days.
Yes.
Well,
Someone is asking if you can use the leaves of the daikon to make a pesto. Sorry, someone's asked if you can use the leaves of the daikon to make a pesto.
Oh, totally, you could do that. I would, my go-to is always like the leaves with a bit of toasted almonds and a little bit of garlic and a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of regular oil as well. And yeah, you could totally make a pesto out of it. But I'm just going to show you how beautiful this thing is. And this is kind of part of a life thing for me is hold on, let me move this a little bit further back. Now, in the past, I used to have wonderful chefs who would slice things very beautifully. I've recently found here's my bread.
Lovely. Oh,
Ben, won't you help me so that people can see my bread and show off? Hello, Apple Core Golden from the UK has joined us. There's the bread.
There we go. Beautiful.
And we're going to do I'm going to let it cool down slightly because we do want to make toast with it. Let me move this out the way.
And what type of bread is that, Karen?
This is my 5-seed bread. Well, it's not exactly 5. It's got fennel and there we go. It's got fennel and marmalade in it.
Ooh.
It's very good.
Ooh,
anyway, Cynthia, I think people can't see my face. Can you help me a little bit? See, good to have the techie guy back here, Lauren. Yeah, so you could make pesto with the leaves. And how to make vegetables delicious. I think roasting a vegetable, steaming a vegetable and tossing it with with very nice dressing and introducing texture is really great, and layering things up. You know how people talk about layering in fashion, right?
Yes.
And like how, same with vegetables. You start with your roasty potatoes, you layer up some blanched green beans, you do a little bit of, some herbs and some other bits and pieces of things. Even your Thai broccoli, by the time it's, had a bit of steaming, or by the time it's been roasted, no one will ever know. It'll be fine. You're gonna, you use all those bits. What is, I think, quite tricky for people is just knowing buying vegetables and feeling like they're going waste. You kind of want to use up, certain things fast, and some things last a long time. A sweet potato or a pumpkin can be in your vegetable drawer for a long time and nothing happens.
Yeah.
But a broccoli and a spinach or a kale that you kind of keep promising yourself to roast and don't get to it, does make a person feel bad. But there are all kinds of hacks, and Instagram, thank you, Instagram, for all the hacks, for all the people who give us great ideas with what to do with our greens.
Yeah.
So,
awesome. So we only have a few minutes left, Karen. So I just want to ask
so
quickly.
you're going to miss out on the toast.
Okay.
What about the toast?
We'll hang on. I think everybody can hang on for a few more minutes, right?
A few more minutes for toast. What else can I tell you about my book? Buy 3 at a time is what I'm saying. Buy 3 at a time. I'm shameless. The book is so fab, and I love it so much. What will happen is and this has happened with my other books, again, shamelessly arrogant about the whole thing, is that you buy the book, you love it, then you feel compelled to share it or give it away. Then you sit without a book, which is no good. So it's best to buy at least 2, so that you have one for the giving away thing and one for keeping for yourself.
Definitely. And it really is. I read through not just the recipes. I think what's so lovely about it is the fact that it really does take you on this journey. I started, as you say, it starts actually with the kind of the closing of the kitchen and the start of the pandemic, and it moves through your journey. And I really got that sense. And it was hard. I won't lie, Karen. In the beginning, I think it took me back to a place that I would rather forget about. Reading but once it starts getting to, as you start nearing the second half of the book, you also start getting just that sense of hope, and it really speaks to that title of something better being in front of you. And it's a journey, people. It really is a journey. I see Penguin Books, it's much more than a cookbook, and it will make you feel things that you maybe don't want to feel, but it's beautiful. It really is beautiful, Karen.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that it can still be useful to people, and moving from kind of the pain of leaving my restaurant to the chapter on earrings and lipstick for Instagram, ASMR, the sound of things and kind of new mysterious flavors to play with, and just kind of starting to think about the future. There are some important things there that we all need to think about, and to how to sort of embrace the slight discomfort of the new, often the big discomfort of the new, and push through into something, and to live with that discomfort, and to have faith in those around you, and to believe in new ideas is what we all need to hear about.
Yes, definitely. And then what else have you been working on? So you say there's an upcoming cookbook?
Yes.
In the works?
Yes. Yes, I'm thinking upwards, onwards and upwards, and I'm thinking upwards might be really thinking about the future a little bit more, and a bit more about collaborations and things that I've learned, and projects I've been involved with, and things I believe in, and I want to talk more about that. I have a podcast called Toast, where I talk to people in the food industry, and sometimes not, just about ideas about the future. Please tune into that. You can get it on Spotify and all those things. You see, again, more shameless plugging, Lauren. Yeah, so I have a podcast. I have I'm going to start working on a new book quite soon. I've got so many ideas about that. And then I work with other people, restaurants and hotels who are looking to build food communities or making their food just better.
Yeah.
So I love working with people in the industry. I learn such a lot. I've been eating a lot because I've been a judge for Eat Out. I love this job. This year has been so much fun. I love the judges that we've been working on. We've been tussling and seriously working very hard on the whole thing and really trying to bring a more diverse bunch of restaurants. And our challenge is that people have just gotten better. People, the good guys, are just even better. And so it's kind of about really real judging and really trusting to the whole process. But that's been a lot of fun. I'm up for that again, guys. If you want me to do that, I'm all ready for that. I love seeing what people are doing. I love the stories that people are telling. I love this kind of celebration of Indigenous and kind of local produce even more. And yeah, so I tend to be, I'm speaking to all different groups of people and about different things, and I love it when I have to write and make my head work a little bit, and I love thinking with other people about ideas and kind of imagining new and exciting things.
Awesome. Okay, I need to hop off, Karen, but it has been absolutely wonderful. Once again, everybody, let's do one last plug. Onwards
Yes,
is
one
what
last
we've been
thing.
discussing.
Onwards.
Onwards.
At all local bookstores and online. Thank you, Claire, Penny.
Seems like there's
Thank
another
you
collaboration there.
Joined us and stayed. Thanks to the people who've joined us and stayed with us. Big loves to you all. Big loves to all the friendship and the support for all the years and for being so kind to us and for believing in the journey.
And thank you, Karen, for inspiring us all with hope and helping us all to look onwards. I can't wait.
Thank you, Lauren, for your kind invitation to be with you. I loved it.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, I'm going to have to stop.
Karen's going to enjoy a toast. I'm going to go and see if I have a piece of bread lying somewhere to join you as well.
And all the best.
Bye, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
good day.
Lauren. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.